I had a job running regarding a consultant psychiatrist who rang in with concerns about one of his patients. And the concern was his patient's mental health had deteriorated rapidly to the point where he was high on drugs constantly and got himself into such a paranoid state that he was wanting to arm himself and literally go and kill people.
He suggested that he might have had a crossbow in a rucksack. We'd asked to go down, keep an eye on the house, so we went down, kept at a distance, watching the house. After a short while, he appeared at the front door carrying a rucksack and a large carrier bag.
We followed him down the street and round the corner to where he entered the front doorway of a public house called the Eagle.
Sarah and Michael went to follow them, and I said, I'll take the other door around the other side so we can cut him off inside the pub.
As myself and Michael approached him, he had his right arm behind his back, and I told him to remove his arm from behind his back, and as he did, he pulled out what looked to be a handgun. I shouted, "Gun," and Michael and I ran towards him, and I pinned his arm above his head while Michael tried to wrestle the gun out his hand. He discharged the weapon into the ceiling, and we continued to wrestle with him to try and obtain the weapon. As we did so, Sergeant Richardson came around the corner and assisted us.
I was absolutely terrified. I've got 2 young kids at home, you know, and for a brief moment I just thought, I'm not going home tonight, you know, I'm not going to see my kids again or my wife. So I think what most people say, you know, they talk about your thoughts sort of like drift to your family and things like that, but it was only for a fleeting second. There wasn't a lot of time to do anything else, really. Just needed to get a hold of them and get that gun.
I just instantly ran in and just started hitting him. I thought, I don't need it to be the point, I don't even know what I thought. I just thought this man needs to get put on the ground as fast and as quickly as possible. I drew my baton, I was striking him, and I don't even know how many times I hit him. I just kept going and kept going and kept going until we eventually got him dragged to the ground. My only thought was, he must be secured, he must get handcuffed, because if he gets back up, we are in, that's it. Our lives are in such grave danger. We managed to get him handcuffed eventually with the 3 of us, and I remember him getting pulled out of the pub across the ground, and that's when we've seen on him, we've seen the body armour, I've seen the knives in his body armour that he had to throw, I've seen the smoke grenades on him, and that's when we've seen the backpack lying next to him. He had the crossbow which was loaded, he had another handgun, he had petrol bombs, he had more smoke grenades, and he had more knives. This guy was kitted for war.
Yeah, you just think, well, if we weren't there, the situation could have been a whole lot different. You know, he was making threats to people on the estate. You know, he was there at a busy pub with all these weapons. You don't like to think what might have happened if we weren't there at that time.
With all the violence he showed and the struggle we had with him, even to the point where we had him pinned down and handcuffed, there was still fight in him. He still wasn't going to give up. So my lasting memory is, if we hadn't have fought the way we did and hadn't got those handcuffs on, one of us may not have been coming home.
I suppose you've got to have a certain skill set. Resilience probably being top of them. You've got to remain professional no matter what happens. I think you join the job because you've got that fighting instinct to do the right thing and not to run away. Yeah, I think just about every cop in the front of the police is exactly the same.
You need people who do know what they're doing to go out there and do the right thing, because without us, the streets are a dangerous place.